Good evening, everyone. Just wanted to say hello to you before we start this presentation. We're actually here, but in the background, um, and we're going to be here to answer your questions after the fact. But I wanted you to have a face with the name. My name is Mark Yarkey, and I'm the assistant principal over the IB program here at Land O'Lakes High School. And joining me after this screencast is going to be my companion, my partner in crime, Jillian Baker. She's our IB counselor, and she, has been doing this a long time and knows everything there is to know. And between her and I, we will answer all your questions if this presentation doesn't do that for you. So let's do it. So again, welcome to Pasco Pathways. This is for our East Side families. And again, we thank you for taking the time to be here. This particular presentation is about Land O'Lakes High School and our International Baccalaureate program. And again, my name is Mark Yarkey. I am the IB coordinator and the assistant principal over that program, and Jillian Baker is our IB counselor. In addition to being a magnet program for the International Baccalaureate program, Land O'Lakes High School is consistently considered one of America's best high schools, one of the best high schools in Florida, as designated by several publications. We are an IB World School, and for the past 12 years we have been an A school, and we have been also recognized as a school of excellence in the state of Florida, and we are the only Pasco County high school to receive that designation. So again, we're happy to have you here, and happy to let you in on a few of our secrets and tell you as much as we can about this program. So on our agenda tonight, what is IB? What can it do for you? Which is a question that a lot of people want to know, like what's in it for me. We've got the 9th grade academic pathway and what a student's day would look like. We have a lot of questions about extracurriculars, so we want to definitely talk about that. We want to give you guys an impression and just a sample of what our students say, and so we have some senior IB students that made a video that we are going to present to you this evening. And then last but not least, Pasco Pathways, how to apply for the program. So what is it? So IB started in Geneva, Switzerland in 1968. It's been around for over 50 years. It's in 146 countries, and it teaches over 1 million students around the world. The mission of IB is written right there for you. And maybe a few of these words speak out to you more than others. I know for me, the idea of creating a better and more peaceful world through learning, education, understanding, and respect is something that I think the world needs more of, and is something that this program has built its legacy on doing. So it's an international, it's independent, it's research-based, and when you're talking about IB, you're talking about something that not only universities in the United States immediately recognize, but universities around the world immediately recognize. So what can the program do for you? So taking a look at some of these schools, this is where some of our more recent graduates have gone to school, and some of these are probably familiar with you. So if you've ever had the desire for your student to attend an Ivy League school or some of the major technical or medical schools, you've got University of Chicago, which has one of the most renowned economics programs. You've got UF, which is considering itself the Harvard of the South. So some other universities not on here that our students attend are places like some of the public Ivies, like the University of Michigan. So again, if you have ever wanted your student to attend these colleges, or if it's a dream of theirs, IB is definitely a springboard to the top of those applicant lists if your students put in the work, right? So if students want to attend these schools, IB is definitely something that can make that happen. Just to give you an overview of some of the other things that we can provide as a school, I want you to hone in right in the middle. There's kind of a circle there that says the average weighted GPA of our IB and pre-IB students. So all of our students put together, all 318 of them, have an average weighted GPA of a 4.26. Every year in this county, we have the top 10 high school students in terms of their GPA. So if Pasco County had a valedictorian and salutatorian that represented the entire county and not just their high school, they would come from IB, from Land O'Lakes IB, every single year. Every year we have somewhere between 2 and 10 national merit semifinalists. This past year we had 2, but the previous year we had 8. Again, as I had mentioned, we are 12 years as an A school and a school of excellence. We have a ton of sports, clubs, extracurricular opportunities. So again, the program itself provides nearly unlimited opportunities if students are willing to put in the work. However, when we talk and think about IB, I feel like the impact goes much deeper than that, much deeper than the accolades, much deeper than grades and GPAs. So, and to really drive that point home, if you look at the top 2 questions, right, if we're looking at something like 2 plus 2, or what is the formula H2O, what does that represent? There's really only one answer to those problems, right? 2 plus 2 is always 4, it's not 7. H2O is water, it's not methane. And so when we think a lot about our schooling and how it's traditionally been set up, a lot of our programs tend to focus on what is the right answer. In fact, if you've ever done homework with your student, you've probably heard them like reference, I'm just looking for the right answer, I need the right answer. And I think that's why we see that there's the possibility or the probability maybe of cheating, because it's so readily available for us to look up or Google, or maybe you're a Bing user as far as looking up answers. It's because we tend to think of answers as being right or wrong, black or white, and we don't think of there being a gray area where things are up for debate. Now, if you look at the second 2 questions, these questions require depth. They require reflection. They require research. These questions ask us to go deeper into things, and they ask us to understand things. And they don't necessarily have a right or wrong answer. They have answers that can be tweaked and added to and debated and discussed and compromised upon and built upon. And this is really what I think the IB program can do for your students. Yes, the GPAs will be there. Yes, the college credit will be earned. The colleges will value their application and their time in the IB program. But above that, what we are going to try to do in our program is help students learn to answer life's big questions, right? The questions that don't have easy answers. What we really want students to be able to do is learn how to learn, right? We want them to learn really and discover who they are as people and how to maximize their potential. And how we do part of that is through something called the IB Learner Profile. Students that are coming to us here from Pineview Middle School are very familiar with these 10 attributes of the IB Learner Profile. But just take a look at some of these things, because these are the types of things that we try to embed in each and every one of our programs. We want students to be inquirers. We want them to think deeply about things. We want them to be encouraged to communicate. We want them to be principled and ethical. We encourage them to be open-minded and look at other perspectives without focusing on whether or not they think those perspectives are the right ones. We want our students to be caring. We want them to be risk takers and know that if you go out and make a mistake and learn from that mistake, it's probably more valuable than getting that right answer. We want them to be balanced, right? We want them to learn all sorts of different things and be a master of those types of things as well. And above all, perhaps, we want our students to be reflective, right? Constantly evaluating what they know, how they know it, and perhaps even more importantly, how they're going to use that information. And if you look at the IB learner profile, I make this connection pretty frequently about just how closely it relates to um, any sort of company or publications top skills outlooks for the future of our jobs as we move further into the 21st century. And you'll see again a connection here between the IB learner profile and what Forbes top skills are coming up. And the one that I like the most here is something that they call learnability, which I didn't know was a word. But learnability is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn new things over and over and over again. And you can just imagine the value that something like that has, because it doesn't take much to look out at the ever-changing world that we have and try to, we have a very difficult time in predicting the future. So students who have the ability to utilize learnability are going to be in a good place and probably find themselves more prepared than those around them. I also like to consider curiosity as the 11th learner profile, and I use the example of, and maybe some of you looking or viewing this right now, maybe some of you have kids who are 5 or 6 years old, and I asked the question, when was the last time that you saw a 5-year-old who wasn't curious? Right? You see them running around, wanting to learn, wanting to contribute and answer questions and try things and take risks. So something that we try to instill in the IB program is trying to either revive or keep that curiosity going within our students. Because somewhere along the way the system seems to kind of stamp that out, whether it's through certain accountability measures or certain statutes, and our schools come to resemble factories more than they resemble places of learning and discovery, and we try to go the opposite direction of that with our program. And last but not least, another reason why I think this program definitely resonates with me. I use the words of the author Kurt Vonnegut quite frequently, but this one always stuck with me, and I'm around that age right now where I'm starting to wake up with a little bit more terror. But he says that true terror is to wake up one morning and discover that your high school class is running the country, and that is something that should probably concern all of us, because we want to put ourselves in a position, and we want you to help put your students in a position to where they have the tools that are necessary to help guide the direction of the country in the future and not be guided through the actions of others that may not have the same values that they do, or the same passion, zest for life, any of those things. So we want to, again, give the students the tools that they need to maximize their own potential and the potential of those around them. So with all of that being said, when you earn the IB diploma, you're not only earning an internationally credentialed diploma that's going to get you bright futures and other scholarship opportunities, but you also earn the Florida diploma as well. This is our most recent graduating class from last year. They were a pretty pretty great class of students, considering that they had the pandemic aftermath to deal with. And while we're still dealing with the effects of that, it's not to the extent that some of these students had, with the situation being further locked down. So we were very proud of these students for getting through what they did and getting through their exams and, making it out with the IB diploma. This past year, we had 89% of our students get the IB diploma. The other students got the IB designation but did not earn the IB diploma. This year, we'd like to see it closer to 100% and like to keep it there for the future as well. So the IB program model, and you'll have to excuse me here, it's not going to be quite as graceful as Ms. Baker would do this, but I'm going to try to do it justice. So a lot of the 9th and 10th grade schedule is going to really kind of mimic what you see at some of the other high schools. There's going to be opportunities for honors and AP courses. You're definitely going to see a lot of foundational skills built upon, whether we're talking about reflection or communication, any of those IB learner profiles that we want to bring out. It's going to look very similar to other advanced models until you get to the diploma years. So the diploma years, the IB diploma program doesn't actually start until grades 11 and 12. And at that point in time, students end up on really a 2-year cycle for most of their academic subjects. And I don't want to get too much into that right now, but each of their content areas would have kind of a 2-year arc. So let's use biology as the example for their sciences. So in their 11th grade year, our students would take AP Biology, or you can also call it IB Biology 1, and in their second year, they would be taking the advanced IB Biology. So it would be a 2-year arc for all of their different core subject areas. In addition to that, our students as seniors, and really it starts in their junior year, are also going to do something called an extended essay, which is essentially a dissertation, a 4,000-word dissertation on the subject of their choice. Our students get pretty creative with these and have churned out some pretty amazing work over the past few years. Over a wide range of topics, and we have our faculty, teachers, including assistant principals, are advisors on these things and help the students through the process, which really starts around January of their junior year. For CAS, it's not unlike some of the service programs that some middle schools do. It's kind of an amped up community service. So you have a service aspect to it, which would be more community service-like, but the creativity and the activity components are completely generated by the students, and they're designed to help students take risks and develop themselves artistically, academically, athletically. And so there's a lot of different opportunities for students to really work on self-discovery and development of themselves, in addition to service to others. And then the last thing that students start as juniors as well and then continue into their senior year is something called the Theory of Knowledge, which is really kind of a philosophical class which asks basic questions like, how do you know what you know? And it digs deeper into those ideas, and it looks at things like biases and values and ethics, and really, again, kind of fits in pretty neatly with the IB learner profiles. So what would a day look like for one of our average incoming 9th grade students? So this should give you a pretty good idea. And again, it's not drastically different from what you would see at some of the other schools to start things off. So you would have a pre-IB English 1 honors. We have 2 language options. For IB, there is a 4 years of language requirement. So that would start in their freshman year, and we have the Spanish or French route, which works up to an AP Spanish or AP French by their junior year, and then either an upper level or lower level Spanish or French for their senior year. Our first AP class that our freshmen take is AP World History, which is just one of the more intense AP courses, but it really does set the stage in terms of the level of rigor and the expectations for what this program requires. Depending on which math students have taken, you would be appropriately placed in either geometry, algebra 2, or pre-calculus. You would be in pre-IB biology 1 honors, and our elective is normally inquiry skills honors, which is kind of a TOK light class, which really kind of, again, helps build some of those foundational skills. But this year we also want to open things up and allow some fine arts options as well, including band, dance, theater, art, and chorus, all of which have fantastic reputations here at Land O'Lakes. Now, as you move into your 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year, you're going to see a similar arc. So there's going to be AP and IB English Literature and AP Language Composition. You're going to see the histories move through AP Euro, AP US, and then finally IB History of the Americas. Our lab sciences, our experimental sciences, are going to be anything from physics and chemistry all the way up to biology. There's other options as well there up until their junior year where it's AP Bio and then IB Bio. Mathematics, we have the most advanced mathematics courses in the district. So if your students are wanting to go into engineering, go into computer science where a lot of math might be required, then the IB mathematics courses definitely prepare students for that. And then finally we have, again, the language, either the French or Spanish. Included in all of this is our IB core, which I previously mentioned, which are all graduation requirements to get the IB diploma, Theory of Knowledge class, CAS, which is Creativity, Action, and Service, and then finally that extended essay. So just a quick peek into our classrooms, but you'll really see more of this in our video. But these are some of our science classes, and they do a ton of labs in these. If your student has excelled at hands-on activities or that's their preference, then look no further than our science classrooms. They are always doing something. They're outside, they're dissecting things, they're collecting specimens. So definitely a hands-on type of program. Again, authentic learning experiences is something that is emphasized throughout the IB. And our Spanish and French classes do a wonderful job of this. And these are examples of students going through a simulated TSA security checkpoint, but they're having to communicate to one another in Spanish and French rather than English. So again, we want kids to be immersed as much as we can in what they're doing. Now, one of the big questions that we get, or one of the big concerns that we see is, all right, so the IB program, I understand it. It's rigorous. It's a lot of work. Will I have a life if I'm an IB student? And I think you'll find that the answer is a resounding yes. These are some photos from our most recent little gathering that we had where students painted pumpkins. We've got some similar things coming up for the holidays here, and with that, things that will continue throughout the school year. ARC students not only participate in sports and clubs, but they often lead those programs. We have students in band, in every major sport that we have on campus. Our current student council president is from IB. Our students get scholarships. They are captains oftentimes of these programs. And what we have found is that the more involved our students are in IB, the better they are able to manage their time and the more successful they are. So the students that we normally see who are struggling are actually not involved in anything except trying to boost their grades or maybe they're not doing those things, which is why we're talking to them. But again, we find that the more involved students are, the better they're able to manage their time. We've got tons of clubs and community service opportunities. Our HOSA club, which is Future Healthcare Professionals Club, they recently had the Big Red Bus. They had 3 of those on campus and organized a blood drive, and they've got another one that they're going to do next semester. There's always competitions, there's outreach, there's work at Metropolitan Ministries, there's work here locally. So again, lots of ways to contribute, get involved, and give back. So again, like I said, our students not only participate in everything around the school, but they often lead. And if we're looking at this from a learner profile standpoint, again, risk takers, they're balanced, they're principled. All right, so I want to take just a few minutes here and give you guys an opportunity to just hear what's going on from the voice of the students.
Guys, my name is Shreya and I'm a senior at Elena Lakes High School. Some of the things that IB has really taught me is how to be a globally minded student as well as a leader in my community. IB, apart from its academics and its rigorous courses, has truly been a blessing in my life. Our class of 2022 has made so many bonding initiatives over the past several years. We've all become like a close-knit family. IB has been one of the most challenging but most inspirational experiences in my life. It has taught me so many things such as time management, giving me so many opportunities and leadership positions that I could never replace. IB is an amazing place to start. So let's hear from many of our IB class of 2022 students and see what their opinions are.
My favorite memory in IB was going to Washington, D.C. as part of JSA. I've been in JSA all 4 years of high school, and in my sophomore year we went to our convention in D.C. called Winter Congress, and it was really cool to get to spend all that time with my friends, learning about our country and government and politics and all sorts of things.
One of the best memories I have of IB so far is recently at our annual Swamp Fest, which is a little carnival festival thing we do here in Land O'Lakes. Kind of like a little carnival with all these rides and stuff. And one of the funniest things that happened there was by the end of the night, everyone was nauseous and everyone was like throwing up except for me and one of my friends, which was hilarious. And I just really like the community and all, like hanging out with all my friends for all these events. And it was all thanks to IB, because it's a very close-knit community that we have, which I love.
So one of the most embarrassing moments that I've had in IB is actually when one of my friends kept on going around saying in Spanish that she was embarazada, which she thought was embarrassed, but it turns out that she kept on saying that she was pregnant instead of embarrassed. Pretty embarrassing for her.
I'm looking forward to the field trips that IB always plans every year. There's Universal and Spiffs, and Spiffs is where we go to like a cultural events and we get to see all these different cultures and it opens all of our like eyes. And then we have Universal, which is pretty much like our breaks, and it's so much fun. But I lost my glasses last time we went. It's okay.
The impact I've seen in the IB education has been seeing students be more open-minded, more caring and considerate of others, and being more globally minded citizens.
One of the best memories I've had in IB was when my family and I decided to throw kind of a holy festival at my house, and we ended up inviting everyone in IB, and it was a really great cultural festival and being able to share my culture with others, and I think that's a really core IB value, and I don't think I would have gotten that without this experience and this journey that we've been on.
I would say IB has benefited me by training me to be able to stay awake for longer periods of time. A funny moment that we've experienced is one of our friends, Abe, who wore a dress during homecoming week because he thought it would be funny, and it wasn't funny because he's Abe. He looked cute. He did look cute.
I would say that IB has definitely benefited me in many ways. I've definitely become more accustomed to varying cultures around the world, especially going to Spiffs a couple of times. But I gotta say, probably the best way that IB has impacted me is this piece of cake right here. The ability to just get a slice to experience culture.
My most embarrassing moment in IB has to be my first speech I ever gave in freshman year, where I rambled on about the Kardashians and reality TV shows for 2 minutes. It was very embarrassing and I was very nervous, but now after 4 years and the community we've built in IB, I'm a lot more comfortable presenting.
One of the biggest misconceptions about the IB program is how IB students don't get involved in sports. And to be honest, I think it's just so far from the truth. IB students very much get involved in sports, and I think it's just so fun watching peers celebrate each other and support each other in their wins and losses on the soccer team, the football team, the tennis team, and just supporting one another. For me, I think being involved in sports has really shown me how to prioritize and time manage better in my life, but also shown me like a new community that's very much involved in supporting one another and building each other up.
I first joined IB for the challenge and the classes that were offered. It felt like a really good step up from my middle school career. The classes that were offered were very challenging, and I thought it would be interesting. But I decided to stay throughout the program because of the friends that I made in the community that was offered.
Well, I just really love the people here in IB. Some of the most compassionate and friendly people I've ever met actually are in our class, and I've really grown to love and appreciate the people and the cultures and the beliefs of all the different sorts of people in our grade, and it's really taught me a lot about how to respect and treat others, and for that I am very appreciative of IB.
Some of my greatest memories are going to either Halloween Horror Nights and scaring the living crap out of my friends, or going all the way to DC and seeing snow for the very first time. The memories you make in IB will last you a lifetime, and it's one of the best things you'll ever do.
I joined IB because the reputation, I heard a lot of good things about IB, about the rigorous course load and the challenges, but also a lot of different opportunities. But it's different from why I stayed. I stayed because I wanted to complete the goal of starting this program and not giving up, kind of becoming a better student and a better person.
IB is going to help influence you and build skills that you can then take on to college. It will also help you with your time management and your work ethic. You will amazingly learn how to keep everything prioritized and be in bed by 9 o'clock.
One common stereotype about IB is that IB students have no life, and IB has been very generous to me, and I've been able to do many extracurricular activities like soccer and clubs like JSA, and it's not really true that you don't have a life. You get to go out and have fun with friends and do extracurricular activities. You're not just stuck at home doing schoolwork all day, every day.
The initial reason I joined the IB program was because I wanted to be surrounded by like-minded individuals and have the support of teachers who were actively involved in my education as a student. And I gained all of those things through the course of this program, but I also gained so many life lessons that I will take on for the rest of my life and I will cherish. Things like my love for leadership through clubs like FBOA and HOSA, and also classes like TOK, where we learn so much about the impact of culture and diversity. Different ways of thinking has helped me grow so much as a person, to understand myself as a person, what I value in other people.
My funniest moment from IB is probably going out to eat on half days with my friends. Made a lot of friends in the IB program, and we like to hang out and haze each other sometimes, so I would say that's probably my funniest moment.
So in terms of time, we're going to pause that and just go over a couple last things here. As you can tell, our students spoke a lot about community, culture, and the importance of those things. After all, it is an international-minded program, and it's something that we take very seriously in the program itself. They also mentioned just how important it was to be involved because it helps you with your time management, which were things that we had previously discussed. What I want to just close with before we open up to questions is just a couple of things from Pasco Pathways itself. So first off, there is a boundary between the Land O'Lakes High School IB program and the Gulf High School IB program. So if this is not something you've seen before or familiar, you'll want to familiarize yourself, especially if you're considering any sort of move prior to the school year. Moving really too much further west of Highway 41 and or the Suncoast Parkway, as you can see here, does put you out of our zone and into the Gulf High School IB zone. So it's worth mentioning that, and if you need a copy of this, certainly reach out and bring it up at the end of this session. All applications for Pasco Pathways will be submitted through my student for in-county and out-of-county applicants. Important dates coming up, and again, this is all on the Pasco Pathways website, and you've probably signed up for reminders, but our application window opens on January 6th and continues through January 20th. And after that, the notification emails will start coming out in February 23rd, and you will have up until March 4th in order to either confirm or reject that acceptance. Depending on the number of applicants, there could be a wait list in addition, and if there is an overabundance of applicants, there is also a lottery process, which again we can talk more about when we open this up for questions. So just take note of those dates. Transportation. Students who are zoned for Land O'Lakes High School will receive the same bus services that they would under normal circumstances, but students in other zones will have to either find their way to one of the hubs, which are currently located at Wiregrass Ranch High School, Wesley Chapel High School, Sun Lake High School, New River Library once it reopens, and the Land O'Lakes Recreation Complex. In addition to that, many of our students are also car riders, but transportation is certainly something to consider. Our contacts are here if you want to take a quick screenshot of that, or like I said, we're getting ready to open this up for questions. So thank you for following along with the recording, and our live versions of ourselves will be on shortly.